Hi, I'm Shay,
And I'm Dave.
and we're doing part 2 on doing Shakubuku. If you didn't see the other part 1 video, you can go back and watch it.
And then like it.
And please like it, please share,
and share it on your wall,
and spread it all around everywhere.
Yeah.
And that goes for all of our videos and like everything we post.
Yes.
Yeah, just share everything.
Yeah.
And also say wonderful things about us. So this one is on how to do Shakubuku. I think people get this idea. Shakubuku, by the way, if you didn't watch the last one, we're talking about the religious refutation version of the definition of Shakubuku.
Yeah.
So I think people think in their minds when they think of Shakubuku, they think we mean to go around and be mean to people and
insult and antagonize them and
just be jerks.
Right. Make it personal.
I think that's not only not a good way to do Shakubuku, that's not what it even means.
Yeah. It's like, on the social media, like Facebook, for instance, it's very, common for a conversation to result in ad hominem attacks instead of the topic.
Right.
And I think maybe it's easy to do that if you haven't thought about the subject, haven't prepared, don't know what you yourself believe, and then just criticize.
I think, that often is the way it goes, is people try to do Shakubuku before they're ready.
Yeah.
And they don't have firm faith, and they don't know why. The not knowing why you have firm faith, even if you do have firm faith, is going to be a problem when you come up against legitimate, maybe, arguments that need to be addressed.
Right.
You should know, and if you don't know the answers, in other words, don't ever resort to insulting the other person because you don't know an answer to their question or their doubts or concerns. It should be an intellectual discussion. And
an honest one. I really like how, you refer to it as intellectual honesty, and it's being dishonest when you don't say anything. If someone's doing something hurtful, harmful, or whatever, and you see it, they don't see that it's harming them. If you care anything at all for them, you should, correct their mistaken understanding. Right. So that's kind of, it's not, as some people would contend, if you continue to berate people and their beliefs, that leads to war. I've actually been told that by people.
Yeah.
And it's, they almost got it right, but they missed. You're not berating the person, you're berating the person's beliefs and philosophies and such. So. Yeah.
And I think I know people think that that's kind of mean-spirited, but I think intellectual discussion is really important in society.
I agree.
But, of course, there are people who are not up to it. And so we need to talk about, like, how to deal with this topic. How do we do Shakubuku without being assholes?
Right.
And I think there's a couple of really good examples out there. And a couple of my favorites are, I should start with the priesthood, probably.
Yeah, go for it.
One is, the Nichiren Shoshu priesthood is very adamant about doing Shakubuku. But you see, and SGI thinks that Shakubuku leads to war, except when it concerns Nichiren Shoshu. And
Shakubuku, Nichiren Shoshu, and those are the only people.
Right. I don't understand
screwed
that.
Up.
Oh, we probably mentioned this in the last video. Anyway, Nichiren Shoshu, despite being very adamant about Shakubuku, the way they do it, if you watch the priests, is, publicly in their sermons, they'll say something about Christianity or monotheism or You know, in one of, I think, a couple sermons back, our own priest talked a little bit about Nembutsu and I'm not sure, some other form of Buddhism. And, you know, he says this stuff in a sermon, but when you talk to these people, these priests personally, they're very gentle in how they approach you. They're very kind. They're considerate on an individual level. They let you grow at your own pace. If you're not up to it, you know, they try, and if you're not up to it, they kind of let you go, but they just keep talking about it publicly so that it's known to everyone what their views are. So they're avoiding the complicity of slander, as talked about in the Go Show, while at the same time not being an asshole to individual people just working their way down the path of their own enlightenment. And the other example that I really like is Richard Dawkins. And he's not my favorite author. We're both atheists. We've been atheists since way before we started practicing Buddhism. So we're not jerks because we started practicing Buddhism. We were this way before.
It's a raving.
Yeah. So,
Compliment.
you know, one of my favorite authors actually on this topic is Sam Harris, but Richard Dawkins sets a really good example of Shakubuku, better than Sam Harris's example. He writes this book. He's written this famous book. What's it called? The God Delusion.
Yeah.
It's called. And he says he didn't title it that way. He wouldn't have titled it that way if it had been up to him. His publishers did it. But the book is, you know, obviously a criticism of Christianity and theism in general. And he writes this book, and then it's public. Everyone knows his views automatically because he's published a book, and you can read it on your own time, in your own space, and be pissed about it or be moved by it or change your views in your own space without being confronted. But when he talks to someone personally, individually, he is so polite, he's so gentle, he's so soft-spoken, and he doesn't just say, it's really interesting how he talks to people. He doesn't walk up to them and say, your beliefs are all wrong.
How could you be so stupid?
What a stupid idiot for believing that, you know. And maybe he thinks that, I don't know, but he is so kind to people. He talks them through things. He asks them questions. He gets to know what they as an individual believe. He doesn't bring up what Christianity is. He says, okay, well, what is it you believe? And he talks to them and he draws them out, and then he confronts them with, you know, questions that they should have about their own religion, like contradictions maybe. Mm-hmm. And he says, well, how do you know, I'm not quoting him or anything. I'm paraphrasing kind of how he does things. He might say, well, how do you answer this question or deal with this? You know, what's your point of view on it? And oftentimes you can see they haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a new question to them. Yeah. And he plants seeds of doubt in their mind very, very gently and politely and kindly. And oftentimes just that gets them angry. But if you watch the exchange, he's actually just being so polite and gentle and kind in dealing with them.
So Shakubuku can be a kind, compassionate act.
Yes.
Should be.
It should. That is the way it should go, is you should talk to people in their own space, get to know them, and just talk to them intellectually, honestly, and kind of deal with who they are in their way.
And you should be the one to do Shakubuku when you're ready and able to do it. Don't put it off on, well, I'm not a Shakubuku type person. You know, I don't, you know, you at the very least need to make decisions about right and wrong in your own personal belief system.
Right.
And then if you're going to propagate that, which I recommend you do.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say about your own personal belief system. Yeah, because if you have to Shakubuku yourself first. This was actually a famous quote from Toda,
Yeah, Jose Toda.
Jose Toda, the first person you should shakubuku is yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you can't even do shakubuku until you've resolved your own doubts and you're certain about Buddhism and you know why, and you can answer the kinds of questions you would put to someone else about their religion. You can do these same answers, and
you have a commitment to practice this Buddhism throughout your life and those kinds of things, then yeah, talk to people you care about.
And then how can you not talk to people? I mean, it's totally, once you're convinced that this Buddhism is really an excellent philosophy, the best philosophy.
You're not going to tell your spouse or your parents.
Yeah,
or
how can you do
anybody? I don't know.
It's just so dishonest. I don't know how you can feel you have integrity and at the same time feeling and telling people, oh yeah, I believe that I agree with you about this, that you don't agree with them about.
First, you have to see the harm, I guess, and that's what these videos are going to hopefully help people do, is see what works, what doesn't work, get encouragement.
Right.
We're not just sitting back taking pot shots and whatever. We want people to take their own personal practice to the very next level, and you do that by doing shakubuku.
To yourself and to others.
Exactly.
Yes.
Till next time.